Back? Can we nationalize Wi-Fi now? Vibing. That's good. I'm glad everyone's having a good time. I'm glad we're just chilling. Yeah, I'm surprised. Someone said I hate politics. This is a strange place for you to be. Do you see the Midwestern Marx logo on my stream? Audio is back, poggers, and we're back. Let's go. I'm joking. Okay, got you. I kind of hate politics too, though. Like, I just hate following the day to day. I talk about this all the time. I hate following the day to day of like what's going on in Washington. Like I saw people reporting today on like something like AOC wasn't wearing a mask or something. I'm like, like who cares? You might as well read People magazine about like what Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson are up to. Like it's such a distraction. You when you could talk about economics and Marxist theory on production and how production is interrelated with the state and the government. I don't know. I guess I like focusing on broader, more macro level things. There are things that happen in politics that matter, but it's rare. Like, what's something that matters? Well, this can launch us into our discussion on juristocracy, this topic I want to talk about today. But stuff happens in politics that matters, like when there's an election that matters, a little bit, not a lot, but and then like when the Supreme Court passed Citizens United. So what Citizens United did, for those who don't know, basically it made it so corporations' campaign donations were considered speech. And because they're considered a form of speech from the corporation, either advertisements or campaign donations, um, those corporations should have the freedom to use as much speech as they want. So they should be able to, pay for as many advertisements as they want for one candidate. And there's ways you have to do it. Like there's only so much money you can give directly to a candidate. But then they create like super PACs, right? And the super PACs don't always give directly to the candidate. They'll just do advertisements. They'll ad bomb a certain geographic location for their preferred candidate. And Citizens United made this much, much easier. And the way that they got Citizens United through was not by passing it through Congress. And of course, it wasn't by giving a popular referendum to the people and letting the people vote on it, because then it would have never passed. What they did was they put it in the courts. They gave it to the Supreme Court. Oops. And the way that they gave it to the Supreme Court was by making this argument that this is a matter of free speech. This is a constitutional matter that the Supreme Court should rule on, even though it is absolutely a political and economic decision, a decision that should be made democratically by the majority of society. Instead, it's given to the Supreme Court, which has a handful of members, right? So you can subvert democracy by putting things in the hands of the courts and putting things in the hands of the legal system, just like they did with Citizens United. And most of the Supreme Court members are pro-capitalist. We debate about their views about social issues, because that's what we usually associate with Supreme Court decisions, things like abortion and whatnot. But they also make decisions like this, economic decisions, that are thrown to the courts on purpose to try and get them through to subvert the democratic will of the people. So I was searching this topic. So I don't know who exactly came up with this, but there's a book called Towards Juristocracy by Rand Herschel. And I'm pretty sure it talks about Citizens United itself and what exactly Citizens United did and the process of getting Citizens United to the Supreme Court. But, I mean, think about that. We could vote on it with a popular referendum, right? We could have the masses of people vote on it. Everybody in society could vote on it. And that would be a decision made by then millions of people. Or we could pass it through Congress, right? Congress are supposed to be representatives of those millions of people. It's got to get through the House and the Senate, and then can't get vetoed by the president. So technically, that's supposed to be the will of the people. We know it doesn't work like that, but that's a process of what, like I don't know how many people are in the Senate, House, and House together, but hundreds of people. Or you can give it to the Supreme Court. That's 9 people, right? Or or you can have the president pass certain things through executive order. That's one person, but that's difficult. You can't just pass an executive order making Citizens United a thing. But if you push that issue to the courts and you just skip around the House and the Senate and the people all together, you can put that decision in the hands of 9 people, even though it's a decision that massively affects the whole of society. So there's an idea that more and more issues are going to be pushed to the courts like this, and there's going to be more and more efforts to control the Supreme Court and the court system in general. One of the main things Trump did during his presidency and Mitch McConnell did was appoint hundreds of Supreme Court justices, or sorry, not Supreme Court justices, but court justices on the lower levels, on the lower level courts, which helps them push certain issues to the higher courts, and which can give them more control over the judicial system as a whole, which is great for corporate America and for the ruling class. Here's the truth. Lady Justice has a blindfold on. Why? Because Lady Justice is blind. It's got nothing to do with unbiased justice. To be fair, at least Hassan doesn't believe the Uyghur nonsense. Does he now? Because before he was one of the people pushing the propaganda. I called him out on it pretty hard a bunch. Not that, I don't know if he saw my videos, but I always wonder if a revolutionary struggle is possible in the United States. Like, I think it's definitely possible in the global south in the traditional sense, but I wonder about the U.S. Do y'all think it is possible? Yes or no? Of course. Of course. What are some actions that we collectively should take? If not, what should we focus on? Community organizing, economic organizing. The reason we can't see a revolutionary struggle being possible is because we're not organized enough as a class. The American working class largely doesn't even think of themselves as a class that could wage a potential class struggle or a revolutionary struggle. We view ourselves as isolated individuals, as not part of some connected whole. But the more that we get organized, the more that we can change that. The more that we can build solidarity among our class, which can then allow us to wage a revolutionary struggle. So the keys are: 1, economic organizing, meaning organizing your workplace, organizing the people that you work with, organizing them into unions where you can also give them political education while also waging a struggle directly against the boss and negotiating for better contracts, better benefits, better wages, and giving yourself protection against the bosses. Waging class struggle. Other key: community organizing. Things like mutual aid, meeting people's needs. In China, the villages of peasants, it wasn't just that all of them happened to pick up Mao and Marx and Lenin one day and just start reading about Marxism. There was a communist party, a giant political apparatus who was meeting people's needs, bringing them food when the system couldn't provide for them, and then saying, come with us, we're going to change this country. We're going to change things, and we're going to fight for you. So that is community organizing, doing mutual aid, making people think when the system fails me, when the government fails me, when my job fails me, the Communist Party will be there for me. Because it's an actual apparatus that actually works in the community, builds solidarity, and has some sort of power, and has people working for it who are dedicated. So the best thing you can do right now is join CPUSA and start a club in your area. It takes 3 people to start a CPUSA club, and then you can start doing things. You can start doing activism with the resources and help from the party, the oldest communist party in the U.S. So, yeah, that's what you can do. Economic organizing, community organizing. Wage a class struggle, Political and economic revolution is absolutely possible. Revolutions happen all the time, too. Revolutions aren't just the French Revolution and the American Revolution or the Chinese Revolution, right? Revolutions happen in industries, right? There are revolutions in technology. There are revolutionary new technologies that change the way we produce things, which have massive effects on the whole of society. We're seeing now how automation is pushing people out of their jobs, one, because of the contradictions of capital, and because of the fact that wage labor is the way we organize our society. So automation pushes people out of their jobs rather than decreasing the amount that all of humans have to work in general, which is what it should do. But that automation is also coming about because of revolutions in technology, revolutions in the tools that we use to produce, created by engineers and other people. And these revolutions are things Marx paid very, very close attention to, you know, because there are revolutions in all facets and all the elements of society, which then have effects on the other facets and elements of society and bring about changes elsewhere. In Western Marx, I think it's believed at first, but then doubted later. He skips it when brought up. Hassan, I mean. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. If I'm a billionaire, for example, I have stat. Is the audio still on? To be honest, I do think that Hassan helped me a lot in my progression towards communism. What about y'all? That's good. And that's why I talk about Hassan and stuff, just because he has such a big audience. And I'll watch him from time to time. It's because I know people like him, even though I'm not. It's just not my. It's not the kind of content I want to watch, I guess. I don't know. It's not for me. I think he's a. Yeah, I think he helps people on their path to communism for sure. He's a good anti-conservative. I just wish he would talk about Marxism and dialectical materialism more. But maybe that's why I'm here. The Hassan to Midwestern Marx pipeline. He's one of those leftists that cries about fascism when it's not there. He is, but that's also pretty much everyone. That's like 95% of the American left right now. It's like, you guys need to study what fascism actually is. It all started with like Adorno. Adorno was like one of these postmodernist French philosophers who liked Marx, but then was like, wrote all about the fascist personality, right? And like these are the personality traits of fascism based on studying Hitler and Mussolini or whatever. It's like, this is liberalism. This is just liberalism. This is saying, I'm going to focus on individuals and their individual personality traits and view history and the rise of Hitler and Mussolini not as, something that came about because of various societal elements and various class structures, the way that a Marxist would analyze it, but because of individuals. And certain people have personalities that are just prone to be bad and evil and fascist. And therefore we need to be on the lookout because everyone might be a fascist, even if they don't know it, even if they think they're a progressive and they protest for progressive causes and are in the working class. They might have a fascist personality. It's like, no, fascism is just, capitalism and decay. There are class elements that lead to fascism and that lead a society to be fascistic. And not to say the U.S. doesn't have certain elements that are, elements of fascism that need to be looked at and analyzed and struggled against. Certainly does, but, the answer is to struggle for socialism. The answer isn't to hyper-analyze the personalities of everyone around us and assume that they're fascists, which it seems like a lot of Twitter leftists is what they do. You're the only smart American. I know. Just kidding. He talks about Marxism a decent bit. He doesn't believe in a vanguard party coming anytime soon. But this is what I don't get about these streamers, though. And I know people have their issues with CPUSA and PSL, the Marxist-Leninist parties in the U.S. But it's like, we have massive audiences. Why am I the only one pushing people into CPUSA? It's like, if you don't think there's a vanguard party, no. What are you doing to make the Vanguard Party a thing?
Merry Christmas Part 2.
What's this?
Mind if I watch you open this one?
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff I think you'd like.
This is all things from my room. Thanks.
It's pretty stingy of you, honestly.
He brought me my notebooks on Capital Volume 2. And my headphones that my parents bought me for Christmas. Man, that was pretty nice of him. Philip had his heat, LOL. Thank you. My girlfriend has the same headphones, LOL. Nice. Whoa. My chair almost tipped over. It only has 4 wheels. Hello, chat. Hey, Eddie. Hey, Happy65. Welcome. Our stream keeps cutting out today, partially because of bad weather, I think. So, I apologize for that. What's your opinion on Deleuze? Everyone I see who talks about him seems like a cultist. Yeah, I don't know. The only one I have strong opinions on is Adorno. But like Horkheimer, Deleuze, those other like French thinkers, Lacan, Foucault. I don't really have too many opinions on them. Other than that, Foucault destroyed Noam Chomsky in that debate that they had. Yeah. You blame bad weather, I blame Daddy Bezos shutting us down. You know, that could be it. That could be it. He bought Twitch for a reason. He bought Twitch to shut down us communists. What are the best books on Juche? I don't know. The Korean War by Hugh Dean is a great book about the Korean War. I don't know too much about the specifics of Juche, though. Thoughts on Heidegger? Very controversial. Yeah, it's weird because, like, Latin American socialist movements will use elements of Heidegger. And it's like, he was a Nazi. But it's like they're able to divorce the ideas from the person. So they take some of his ideas and leave behind like the majority of his ideas, the core. But they take what's good, you know, and they're able to divorce his ideas from the person, which is not the way we think in the West. You know, we usually, like, I got a ton of heat from American leftists recently for saying that it was good that Jake Paul was calling out the UFC for underpaying their athletes, because they're like, no, Jake Paul's a piece of crap. He lives in Puerto Rico. He uses Puerto Rico as a tax haven. Therefore, you know, we shouldn't give him praise about this. You're just being a white leftist. And it's like, okay, yeah, Jake Paul's a turd. Maybe I shouldn't have made him out to be a good guy in my videos. But, you know, I can... Obviously, it's a joke, and I'm recognizing that Jake Paul is a bad guy who's doing a good thing. Right? He's not a good guy, but he's drawing attention to the fact that Dana White and the UFC, this multi-billion-dollar company, is underpaying people who fight in a cage and get brain damage for our entertainment. Right? It is good that Jake Paul is drawing attention to that, even though he's a bad guy. But that's not something that the modern left and the Western left is usually able to do. And I've never read Heidegger. I don't know what aspects of his work that the Latin American left likes to take. But, you know, I support them in doing that, you know, even though I think Heidegger was a piece of garbage, horrible human being, and we should study if you're going to study the good parts of him, you should also study the bad. Yeah, I don't know. It's that question of, can you divorce the ideas from the thinker themselves? U.S. Communist parties need to focus on growing financially. More access to capital will give the party more ability to propagate its ideology. I agree in that it's like a necessary evil of trying to destroy capitalism, and that's what the Chinese Communist Party does. They have people sitting on the boards of like the largest corporations in China, and the party has just a ton of financial power and capital. And it's huge. You know, the Communist Party would be able to set up, like, you know, housing districts, cheap housing districts for people, and they would be able to, you know, make a lot of people's lives better. really do actual work in the communities if they had some more resources and capital. I also thought the Jake Paul stuff was clearly supposed to be satirical. Obviously, I called him Comrade Jake Paul. It's like you can't even tell a joke. I usually don't even look at the replies to my videos anymore, but I did just for some reason on those because I knew people would be like, look at these, look at Eddie supporting Jake Paul, for doing the bare minimum. It's like, yeah, he's doing the bare minimum. He's Jake Paul. But you know what? He's also really famous, and I'm going to use his name to talk about communism so we can spread communism to more people. But I'm sorry for breaking the purity rule where you're not allowed to talk about anyone who's ever done a bad thing. I'm sorry, I'm unpure. Yeah, for Heidegger, read the piece called The Question Concerning Technology. Interesting. Okay. This article is wild. Some of the Japanese Red Army went to fight in Palestine and the rest killed each other. Oh, wow. What do you think of establishing a network of communist churches? Using liberation theology to de-radicalize evangelicals. That's a great idea, dude. That is a great idea. How did you come up with that? Because that is something that's been done in American history since the time of slavery. Like, resistance to oppressive structures in the United States has largely taken place across the churches. And I know a lot of leftists don't think anything good has ever happened in America and that the whole country just needs to be thrown away. But we have a really rich history of resistance and struggle against the oppressive forces, against the ruling classes. And, in the time of slavery, it was the churches where people were getting organized and were using as safe havens from the slave owners. And it was the churches during the civil rights movement where organizers and black people would meet and they could be safe from the police and they could plan their protests and organizations. The churches have a connection to the community. So creating a network of churches using liberation theology to educate working class people who are evangelicals in Marxism and out of like batshit right wing ideas would be an amazing idea, and it would be in line with the tradition of socialist struggle in the United States. The CCP destroyed villages just by flooding them and then built dams to support the cities, built up next to them, and again, nation was that, to be honest. Interesting. How do we get more hot girls to become comrades? If that happens, all the men will follow, and boom, revolution. Yeah, good question. I don't know. We just got to date them all one at a time and turn them into communists. Evangelical Christians in general are horrible people. I was raised in the evangelical Christian church. They're not so bad. John Brown used Calvinism to recruit people to kill slave owners. Damn right. Hey, Eddie, will Carlos ever hop on stream for leftist philosophical takes? Yes. I've been trying to get Carlos on stream for a while now. We're just both really, really busy. But he will be coming on stream at some point for sure to talk about that philosophy that he likes so much. Christians supposedly believe in someone who believed in feeding the poor and caring for the sick. Weird that churches aren't already communist. True. I was watching a Jim Gaffigan stand-up the other day. He was like, what was he saying? He's like, I feel like a lot of religion gets lost in translation. Like, God is like, love your neighbor as you love yourself. And then evangelicals hear that and they're like, oh, he said kill the gays. Like, it's like when you read the Bible and then you look at the Westboro Baptist Church, it's like, how? How are you so hateful and spiteful when your holy book says this? I read my girlfriend the manifesto to get her to sleep. Nice. Can socialists and capitalists find middle ground? This is probably going to make me mad. I'm probably going to get mad at even the things that the socialists say in that video. Can we get some Seabass slander? Yeah, that man sucks. Where should I start with Marx? Currently wading through the German ideology. Well, you should start with the German ideology. That's a great place to start. But then check out Wage, Labor, Capital, Value, Price, and Profit. Read the Manifesto. Read some Engels. Read Socialism, Utopian, and Scientific. Read some Lenin. Read Imperialism. State and Rev. I'd recommend starting with Principles of Communism by Engels. There you go. Great place to start. Tried watching Voosh earlier. Was completely insufferable to watch. I agree. He's just egotistical. He's all about himself. Bro, the Westboro Baptist Church was protested in front of my high school. The school was on a street called Veterans Drive, and we had a club called Gay Straight Alliance. That's what they were protesting? The Gay Straight Alliance? Shit was nuts, I bet. Like, every school has a Gay Straight Alliance. And it's not the teachers, it's the kids who form it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know why I'm acting like the Westboro Baptist Church would be rational or think rationally or logically. The most insane people ever. 69 viewers, let's go! Thank you for 69 viewers, friends. No, start with capital, only way to be full tanky. Oh, no, you have to start with capital as the first book you read. Only way to be full tanky. That's funny. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Guyon Jones. Appreciate you. Ingalls lived in the Northwest in England. We have a statue in Manchester of him. That's really cool. That is so cool. It'd be really cool to live in that area just to see, like, because you know, like, capital is written about the areas, or the area where you live, right? Because it was written by studying England and the development of capitalism in England, including looking at specific districts. And then Ingalls obviously has the development of the working class in England, which was one of the books that helped Marx discover his theory of historical materialism, dialectical materialism. Once he got to look at Engels' sketch, his rough outline of the working class in today. Nice. What book? Gosh dang it. The stream restarted again. Religion is powerful, gang. Don't underestimate it. They condition children, control the education system, and it's global. A major power. Yeah. Religion is definitely a powerful part of our culture still. Like we were talking about in the last stream, nearly 75 or 76% of no audio again.